This is Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that has been, it is which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It has been already of old time, which was before us. I'd like to start off by saying, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Kol Haloim La Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Wachach Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquath that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shuab Amawan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, the same shall be done in spiritual Egypt. All right, and this is the Pasach today. All right, Lord willing, everyone's Pasach is going well through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, and what I wanted to land back on, all right, when I was reading, you know, because one of the chapters we have to read during the Pasach is Exodus, the 12th chapter. Okay, I'm gonna land back off of that basically. All right, one of the things, all right, that was done in spiritual Egypt as a plague was that the firstborns were taken away, okay, from the Egyptians, all right, and that's why I pretty much read Ecclesiastes 1 and 9 says the thing that has been, it is that which shall be done, and that which is done is that which shall be done. All right, so like I read that wrong. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. All right. So, you know, anything that has happened in the past, all right, that has happened, you know, in the ancient times, all right, as we all know, history repeats itself. There's a thing called reincarnation. Okay. So the same thing that was done in ancient Egypt, all right, same plagues that were done in ancient Egypt are the same plagues that are going to be brought, all right, here to America, because America is considered spiritual Egypt, as it tells you in Revelations, the 11th chapter, right, 11, and let's take it from 8. And it says, Revelations 11 and 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, all right, and that great city, all right, is considered America, okay, America, Babylon the Great is that great city, okay. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street, meaning those that are spiritually dead, all right, that he that wandereth out of the way of the he that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Okay, so when you don't have the knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you are spiritually dead. You are considered as a dead body. Right. So, you know, even here in America, there's going to actually be physical dead bodies. All right. Before anything, they are spiritually dead. Okay. So it says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord Yahushua was crucified. All right, meaning what? That the ways of righteousness was X'd out. Okay, here in America, America doesn't believe in the law, statutes, and commandments that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has to offer. All right, they have basically X'd out those ways. All right, you even have to the point where they're trying to, get rid of Bibles, trying to rewrite the Bible, anything that YAHAWAH'S has already set forth, all right, they try to get rid of it. So this is where they have X'd out the ways of righteousness, the ways of the Lord, okay? But the point is that the great city, okay, is spiritually called what? Sodom and Egypt, okay? Let me grab this. This is you take Revelation 17:4, right? And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. All right. And that woman is the woman that sits, all right, on top of the seven, into the beast and the 10 horns, all right, going into the 7 heads and the 10 horns, all right, going into NATO and the EU. Okay, so the woman that sits, all right, on top of them, all right, is America. Okay, and it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great. You see, so Babylon the Great is showing you that in Revelations 11 chapter verse 8, all right, that great city, all right, is Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots and abominations of the earth. Okay. So now you know who that great city is, Babylon the Great. All right. And when you understand who Babylon is, all right, Babylon goes back to the word Babel, which Babel means what? Confusion. So here in America, this place is about total confusion. Okay. So now you have an understanding of who that great city is. All right. So that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt. So we are spiritually Sodom in Egypt, all right? Sodom, because all the phagonometry that's pushed upon this earth, right, here in America, and Egypt, because we are still in captivity, all right? We're still under bondage, as it tells you in Baruch, the 3rd and 8th, all right, the 3rd chapter, verse 8, all right, says you are yet still in captivity till this day, all right? You're subject onto payments. Okay, you have a social security card, a license, a birth certificate. That's basically modern day slavery. Okay, so we are still in captivity to this day, just like when we was in the time of Egypt, we was in captivity. Okay, not only that, in the time of Egypt, all right, Egypt was this beautiful, place to be at in those ancient times. Why? Because it was built on the backs of Israelites. Okay, well, look at how America is supposedly this beautiful country to go to, right? And who was it built off of? It was built off of the bloodshed of the Israelites here being in captivity. You see, showing you there's no new thing under the sun. Okay, this place was built off of our people, man, off of bloodshed, as it tells you in Habakkuk 2:12, right? It says, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity." Okay, so this place was, built with cities to gain, money, and it was all, built on murder and corruption. Okay, and again, it was built off the backs of, Israelites, man, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, right? Tells you that in James. All right, let's grab that real quick. James 5, and let's go just straight to the point. Let's take it from the 1. It says the misuse of riches is go. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men." All right, going into these elites. All right, these people that rule the world. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It says, "Weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered." Excuse me. "Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. All right. So that's just proven, all right, that those the backs of slaves, all right, the backs of you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the ones, all right, that have built this place, man. Okay, that's why it says in the NLT, it says, for listen, hear the cries of the field workers whom you have cheated of their pay, the wages you held back a cry out against you, and the cries of those who harvest your fields have reached the ears of the Lord Yahweh of heaven's army. Okay, so, you know, once again, you know, those that have, you know, broken their backs, man, to build this place, all right, they cry unto the Lord. All right, we get, you know, our wages taken away from us, you know, don't get paid to what we're really supposed to, you know, get paid to. Okay, they're giving peanuts out here. All right, a lot of us die, you know, building these great big buildings and, you know, railroads and all these different things of this society. All right, these different type of industrial places, right? It's all built by the backs of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, so this place has been built on bloodshed and you know, and robbery. All right, as it tells you in Nahum. Let me grab that real quick. This is Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. You see, so it's built on lies and robbery. All right. Now, let's go back to my point. All right, that we're spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Right. This is Exodus 12, and let's take it straight to. You know what? Let's take it from the top. All right, because I was reading that. Yeah, might as well take it from the top. All right, the point is at 12. All right, so it says the Passover lamb. It says, and the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. All right, and this is the, you know, we're in the 14th day, I believe it was, the 10th day, Salakia. All right. Yeah, the 14th day. Okay. Let's continue reading. It says, speak ye unto the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, and a male of the first year, and ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it even in the evening. Shall kill it in the evening. Salakia. All right. So yeah, you know, we're in the 14th day now. All right. So that means on March 17th, all right, was the beginning, all right, of the month of Abib, was the first month of, you know, the new year. Okay, because the new year does not start, all right, in January, in the middle of dead winter. Okay, it starts when, you know, spring starts to arise, basically. Okay, so March 17th was the first day of the month of Abib. All right, and then you count 14 days, and that's the day of the Passover, okay, which is today. It landed on April 1st, okay. So it says, and they shall take the blood and strike it on the two side posts on the upper door post of the houses wherein they shall eat it. All right, so yeah, we have to take the blood of the lamb, right, and we have to smear basically that on the two side posts of our doors, okay, which that's pretty much what we're doing spiritually, all right, by taking on the Passover, right? Because where are we going to be able to really go get actual lamb, you know, and go slaughter it the proper way. Okay, unless you have your own farm. Okay, you're not gonna be able to go do that out here, man. These people call the police on you. You go slaughter a lamb, all right, and then you go put blood on the post of your doors. So we have to do these things spiritually, all right. Our house, all right, is our temple, is our mind, is our bodies. Okay, so spiritually, we are that house. Okay, that's why when I did a video about 3 days back, all right, based on, you know, cleansing out the leaven out of your homes, meaning your mind, your body, okay, meaning your spirit. All right, we have to look at these things spiritually before we look at it physically. All right, so us being partakers of this Pasach, all right, of the Pasach period, all right, we're always putting blood on the post of our doors, man. All right, and that blood basically goes into, you know, you could look at it in a spiritual point as the Tawah, okay. That Tawah goes into the mark, all right, of exemption, being exempt from judgment. You see, because the Lord passes over, all right, in this day, and he brings a lot of judgment. A lot of judgment is going to be brought tonight into the end of the Passover. Okay, a lot of people going to pass, man. All right, because the Lord, all right, is going to bring much judgment to this place, America, Babylon the Great. All right, this is Zephaniah 3:5. The Lord, the just Lord Yahweh, is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning does he bring his judgment to the light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. All right, so every morning does the Lord bring judgment to the light, right? This is Ezekiel 9:4, and this is what's going to happen tonight, okay, and for the rest of the week. All right, and the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. All right, and that's what we're constantly doing. We're constantly crying out unto the Lord, all right, to deliver us out of this wicked ass kingdom. All right, when you go into 2nd Ezra 15, right, let's take it from 5. Behold, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right, and those things are about to happen. All right, anytime, any second now. All right, on the Lord's watch, these things are about to come, and Lord willing, this is the last Pasach. All right, the last Passover, and it happens right after. All right, the Pasach, and the Lord turns up and brings exactly that. You know, sword, famine, death, and destruction, which we know those things are on the horizon. All right. It says, for wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. You see, and that's what our people are constantly doing. We're crying out to the Lord to deliver us out of this captivity. Okay. It says, and therefore saith the Lord Yahweh, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Remember, we are spiritually Sodom in Egypt. So this land of Egypt is being spoken of. It's of America. Okay. The Lord sees that here in America, we're being led as a flock to the slaughter. So it says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt, meaning America, with plagues as before. You see, this is how you know it's talking about America, because there was only one Egypt, all right, spoken of in the Bible in the past, in the ancient times. There was never a second Egypt. So what is the second Egypt that's being spoken of? Okay. It's talking about here in America, because we are spiritually Sodom in Egypt. Right. It says, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So the thing that is, right, is the thing which shall be, right? There's no new thing under the sun. So what happened in the ancient times in Egypt is going to happen here in Babylon the Great. All right. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy the land, all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. You see, so the Lord is going to bring plague and punishment to Babylon the Great. Okay, let's go back to Ezekiel 9. Now that you see, all right, that our people can complain continually and cry out continually to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? Back to 9 and 4 in Ezekiel. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. All right. And just like when, you know, when you go into Sodom, all right, Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of that whole entire, you know, town, how everything was going down around them. Right. So we're in that same type of mentality. You know, we're vexed with the filthy conversation of America, you know, constantly seeing all this wickedness around us. It's what makes us cry out to the Lord, right? Let's go into this word mark, right? This word mark here goes into the wa, right? And it says desire, mark, mark as a sign of exemption from judgment, you see? So that the wa is having the names of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. That's how you exempt yourself from judgment, okay? Because the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous man runneth into it and is safe, you see? So we put the blood upon our heads, right? Our houses, okay? With that thawah, which is that exempt, being exempt from judgment, all right? That the Lord have mercy upon us when the time comes, whenever he comes to judge. And how much more do we need it in a time like this, in the time of Pasach, okay? Where the Lord is about to bring death angels upon this place, man, right? When you go into, this is Psalm 78. Psalm 78 and 49. And basically this whole entire chapter is going into when our people were in the wilderness in Egypt, right? And how they were, you know, being wicked in the wilderness. You know, they were mocking the Lord, right? So our people had caused anger upon the Lord, right? This is 78 and 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence and smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham. All right. And Ham goes back to being, all right, these Africans. Okay. That's why when our people say they come from Africa, they're completely going off, because, you know, we're not from the descendants of Ham. All right. We come from Shem. All right. And plus them Africans out there are weirdos. Right. Be taking showers with cow piss, you know, putting plates in their ears, plates in their mouth, long ass necks. All right. That's what the true, all right, Egyptians were looking like, man. The true Egyptians were dark skinned. All right. And wearing these pale ass, you know, whitewashed images that you see, all right, in other, you know, in different pictures, all right, of what they will claim to be Africans in Egypt. Okay, they were dark skinned. All right. So it says, and smote all the firstborn in Egypt, and the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham. Okay. So one of the things that the Lord did when anger was brought upon them, he spared not their soul from death, and gave their life over to the pestilence, you know, dying of disease, died of famine, okay, and died and basically smote, all right, all the firstborns in Egypt, all right, showing you that that same thing that was done in those ancient times are going to be done here today. And how's that going to come by? Through Jacob's trouble, you know, through firstborns being sent out to war, okay, and dying off in the war. Okay, a lot of people gonna die of car accidents tonight. You see, even people amongst our you know, our people, okay, people that, you know, take this Pasach as not a solemn assembly, but think it's a time of celebration, thinking it's a time that you could live it up and, you know, get hella drunk, having a good old time. This is a solemn assembly, which means something serious. So this is a time, all right, it's so serious, all right, that, hey, man, our Lord was crucified around this time, man. You see? So that just goes to show you it's a very serious thing to take, all right, when it comes to the Pasach. There's no playing around with it. All right. And our people out, you got people of ours, all right, that claim to be Hebrew Israelites, you know, going to strip clubs, you know, to celebrate the Pasach, you know, or having large groups and having a all-out party with all types of different foods and abominated foods in the midst of that. You see, they're not sitting there getting dressed up and eating in haste like you're supposed to. You see, you're supposed to eat in haste, okay? Because in that time, when the Egyptians were coming after us, we didn't have no time to sit down and eat, sit down on the chair and let your food rest and digest properly. No, we have to go on a run. These people eating all types of food. All right. You're supposed to be eating bitter herbs. Right. Why do you eat bitter herbs? Because it represents the bitterness of our captivity. You see, but you got people out here eating, you know, good old foods, man. Macaroni and cheese, chicken, lamb on the side, you know, pastas made on the side with it, rice and beans. You see, that's not how you take in the Pasach. You have to eat bitter herbs. All right. You have to eat unleavened bread. Okay. You could eat you got matzo crackers, you know, or you could eat corn tortillas. You see, that's all unleavened bread. All right. And you're supposed to eat in haste, eat quick. Okay. Because that's how it was in the time of Egypt, man. We didn't have time to sit down and bake some bread and make it rise and make it taste good, man. We had to just go. You're not supposed to be seasoning none of your lamb. You know, you got people throw their own seasoning on there, you know, to make it taste good. Nah. All right. We have to just cook it and go on the go. Basically, eat on the run. Basically, that's how you're supposed to eat it in these last when you go into the Pasach. Okay. And whether it's, you know, you're really supposed to be eating something like horseradish. All right. Which is, you know, it's going to burn the nose, going to burn the mouth. All right. But it's to remind you of how bitter this captivity is, man. And how we need YAHAWAH'S to get us the hell up out of here. And in hopes that the Lord have mercy on our families, right, on our household, and passes through, all right, and doesn't judge this place, okay? And that's why we spiritually put, you know, the blood of the Lamb on the post of our doors and the post of our minds, okay? That Tawah, to be exempt from judgment, right? So let's go back to that word Tawah. Right, it says to scrabble, limit, mark, make or set a mark. All right, imprint. Okay, yeah, because that's what it is. The names of Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi is imprinted in our minds. All right, we'll stand stiffly for the name of the Lord. Right. Let me see what else they got here. Yeah, it just goes back to being a sign of exemption from judgment. Okay. So let's go back to Ezekiel 9:4, and it says, and the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark, all right, a Tawah, all right, it being exempt from judgment, upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others in mine hearing, he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. See, this is why you have to fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. All right, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. All right, on the left hand side, because the Lord is not going to spare. The Lord said, "Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity." Okay, so you know those who do not seek the heavenly Father. All right, as it tells you in 2 Chronicles 15:13, shall be put to death, whether great or small. All right, whether man or woman. Why? Because the Lord has no respect of persons. The only people he respects is the elect, those that truly believe, those that are written in the book of life. Okay, those are the ones that are going to be spared. Right? So it says, slay utterly old, young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. You see, so the Lord, all right, tonight, all right, the Lord gonna bring judgment upon old, young, okay, little children, women. You see, why? Because you refuse to turn back to the Heavenly Father. You refuse to take heed of the message that the Lord brings out on a daily basis of repenting. You see, okay, these people much rather, all right, live in mirth and live in, you know, excitement and in pleasure than to suffer with the children of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, to gain the reward of righteousness and salvation later. You see, these people want these things now in a place that's not their rest. As the scriptures tell you, Micah 2:10, arise and depart, for this is not your rest, right? It will destroy you with it is polluted. It will destroy you with a sword destruction. All right. So everything here is polluted. Everything is made to destroy you with a sword destruction, is made to make you completely go off before your maker. Okay. And the wages of sin is death. All right. That's why the Lord going to bring much death to this place. All right. Tonight alone and going into the rest of this week. And then when the Pasach is finished, best believe that the Lord's going to turn it up. All right. As he always does every year. All right. He turns it up after the holy days, man. And more judgments come. More things around the earth happen. Things intensify. You know, the war might intensify. Esau might have the spirit just to be like, you know what? I'm starting to draft people now. He might have the spirit to just bring in his NWO and present the MOTB as mandatory. You see, this is why you have to stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready, man. You have to measure the time diligently within itself, knowing the times that we're in, redeeming the times, because the days are evil. You see, we are in perilous times, so anything can happen at any given moment. Okay? So a lot of people going to pass today, man. A lot of people that are so-called in this truth going to be taken, sent back to the spirit world. All right? And the rest of these 2/3 that don't want to, you know, hearken on to the words of the Lord, a lot of them going to be taken tonight. Right? So let's go back to Exodus 12:7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two-side posts of two-side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. All right. So that's what you got to do. All right. You roast it in the fire. All right. You eat your unleavened bread and your bitter herbs, and then you cast it away. All right. Whatever is not going to be eaten. Okay. You don't save it for the next day. You don't put it in the fridge. You throw it all out in the garbage. All right. And you get rid of it. You discard it. Right. It says, and they shall, it says, eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his legs and his head, and with the puritance thereof. Okay, going, you know, into the lamb. And it says, and thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat in haste. See, meaning what? You're going to eat that meal with urgency. For it is the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai's Passover. Okay, so you're girded up with your loins. You know, if you're a brother, you have your garment on while you're eating. All right, you have a staff. You have a, you know, you hold it in your hand. All right, and it says, "For I," this is the point. "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night." Okay, so remember, we're spiritually Sodom in Egypt. So that means tonight the Lord is going to pass through. Okay. Both in the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see, So the Lord gonna take a lot of firstborn lives today, man. Okay, whether it be a firstborn of your daughter, firstborn of sons, is really gonna be a lot of males. All right, because that's what the Lord took. All right, in the time of Egypt, He took a lot of the first males. Okay, from the Egyptians. Okay, they all turned up, you know, unalived. You know, sent back to the spirit world. Right. And against all the gods of Egypt. Yeah, a lot of these people that worship these different gods are going to be taken away. You know, a lot of these people coming in, they're doing Passovers also, but they're doing the Passovers in the name of Caesar Borgia, you know, doing the Passover according to, you know, these religions, okay, that they worship, that they're caught up into, okay. See, these people, a lot of these people going to be taken away in tonight's, you know, in tonight, basically, right? Whether it be in your damn sleep, might have a heart attack in your sleep, okay? Have a crazy ass nightmare, and your ass have a whole entire heart attack. Don't make it to the next morning, okay? Like I said, people gonna be in houses celebrating the Passover, all right? Go drive home, they drunk, you know, get thrown through a windshield, right? Run somebody over. Some of these people gonna go to clubs after this, man. You know, thinking it's a party day, thinking it's a time to you know, go live it up. All right, because we're in a Thursday, we're in Thursday now. All right, so Thursday's just nowadays, Wednesday is the new start of the weekend for these devils, man. So these people gonna go have a celebration at their house, eat good, and then they're gonna want to go dance, go live it up. Okay. And I'm talking about people that are not, you know, in the know of what the Passover is truly about. Right. So it says, for I will pass through the land of Egypt this night and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord Yahweh, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. You see, that's why it's important to have the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, because the righteous man runneth into it and is safe. See, we're going to be preserved. All right. When these death angels come upon our homes, they're going to see that we have the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They're going to see that we, you know, we're prayed up, you know, that we partook in the Passover. All right. So the blood of the Lamb covers us. Okay. The blood of Yahweh Shai covers us. And these demons, all right, these death angels, they know exactly who we are. They know that we are one of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So they won't do nothing to us, man. They'll keep us preserved. But the rest of these people, all right, there's you know, there's a war going on outside no man is safe from, basically. You see, you could step out of this house, out your house, and it could be the last time you step out. All right, because I'm not saying everyone's going to die today. All right, but hella judgment is going to be brought upon America. When you wake up tomorrow, just look at the news. How many different types of, you know, judgments were brought out, all right, in horrific manners, shootings and stabbings, overdoses, car accidents, you know, or it might just come in the way of you getting phone calls to go to the war, or tomorrow you might hear about 900 Marines or soldiers taken in the war against Iran. You know, that's how the Lord's gonna come with judgment. He could come in so many different angles, right? There's 1,000 ways to die. You could choose one, right? So this is why we have to fear Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, because we are in the time of the Passover where judgment is brought up heavy. Okay, so you know, that's pretty much the point. All right, we got to see how the Lord going to bring hella judgment today and tonight. Okay, going into tomorrow and to the rest of the week. All right. As a matter of fact, when we were done in my house with the Passover, as soon as I went in to Instagram, there was already hell of things going on. You know, breaking news. All right, which, you know, I got to go back into what I saved. All right, but there was breaking news of certain things already. All right, showing you that the turn up is being, is about to happen. Okay, the Lord is about to turn up the furnace of adversity. Okay, and when the Lord turns up the furnace of adversity, all right, that means that more death comes in mass numbers. All right, it ain't no petty numbers, man. It's gonna be mass numbers, numbers that make you go wow, because we're in the time where the Lord is taking souls back to the spirit world in great numbers. Great miseries are coming to those that walked around in the latter times in pride. All right, as the scriptures tell you. And let's grab that real quick. Now pretty much ended there. All right, this is Second Ezra 8:50, and it reads, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. For unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared, plentiness is made ready, a city is builded, and rest is allowed. And yeah, perfect goodness and wisdom." You see, and that's talking about the kingdom. Okay, we search out the things of the kingdom. Okay, we're waiting for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to bring in a new heavens and a new earth where there dwelleth in righteousness. That's why we're constantly making supplication and crying out to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to deliver us. All right, because the Lord created the world for our sakes, but right now we don't possess an inheritance. All right, because of who's ruling. He has to be taken out of the way. All right, and Lord willing that this will be the last Pasach. All right, and that the Lord brings judgment against Babylon the Great. Okay, so we don't have to no longer dwell in this wicked ass place, man. All right. It says the root of evil is sealed up from you, weakness and the moth is hid from you, and corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, and in the end is showed the treasure of immortality. Okay. And therefore ask no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish, for when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High, thought scorn of his law, and forsook his ways. Moreover, they trodden down his righteous, and said in their heart that there is no God. Yeah, and that knowing they must die. For as the things aforesaid shall receive you, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. For it was not his will that men should come to naught, but they which be created have defiled the name of him that made him, and were unthankful unto him which prepared life for them. And therefore is my judgment now at hand. You see? So judgment is at hand. All right. In the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So I'm gonna pretty much leave it there through the spirit. Stay prayed up. All right. Keep that the Wah, the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, which is a strong tower that keep you safe. All right. Upon your foreheads, upon your households. All right. Continue to dwell with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, dwelling in the blood of the Lamb. All right, that's going to keep us safe and preserved. All right, from the said perils, man, from the destruction that's about to come upon this place. All right, and like I said, keep yourself, prayed up. All right, on this Pasach for the death angels to pass over our households as always. All right, and that the Lord have mercy upon us as always. To the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So I'm gonna leave it there to the spirit. Lord willing, you will edify. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, B'chak Kodash. That belongs to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Aquat that was listening in. Yahweh Rakazah, Lord willing, that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom.